So hello guys, in this lecture we are creating a random quotes generator in JavaScript, right? So we will be using a API, right? So I'm writing a script tag here and I have to specify a URL, and so the API that I'll be using is API Ninjas, right? So this is the link, you can copy it, right? So if I go to the bottom, you can see all these categories, right? And this is the link that I'll be copying, right? So I'm copying it, Control C, and I'm pasting it here, right? So happiness. Okay. So I'll be using fetch API, right? So fetch API, then response.json dot data console log. Let's see if it is returning any value or not. Data. So let's see what happens. Right click, inspect console. So it is not returning anything, right? Because I have not specified the API key. So API key is used for authentication, right? You might be knowing about that. So for that I have to sign up, right? So I'm putting up my credentials here. I'm signing up. Just sign up in this page, right? Give any password. Register. Okay. So now I have to verify my email, right? So now this is the email that I have received from them. So click on the verify email. Okay. So now that I am verified, I have to sign in, right? So I'm going back to the same login page now. Where is login? Okay, this is login. Okay, so let's log in. Okay. So now this is their dashboard. Just click on show API key, right? So this is the option, show API key. Just click on this and copy the API key. Okay. So I need to modify the request header, right? So I'm copying the code from here and I'm pasting it there. So I also have to specify the key that I've copied. So I'm pasting it there, right? Let me copy it again. Okay, I need to move it up. Okay, I need to remove some of these options. Method. So HTTP request method is get by default, so I don't have to specify it, right? So, but I need to copy this particular option here, X API key. So let me copy it and paste it here. I need to remove these new headers. It is optional. So backspace. I'm deleting it and just paste the code here, right? X API key. Copy it and paste it here. Just remove the curly brackets and comma. Okay, I think okay. So I also need to put the key variable. So let me first of all remove the method and mode. Okay. So I also need to pass now options here, right? As the second parameter of the fetch. Okay, let me also specify the key here. I'm removing this. Okay. Okay, let's see. Right click, inspect console. Okay, now it is returning a quote here, right? Okay, so it is working now. So now what I have to do is I need to display it on my HTML page instead of the console, right? So for that, as we can see that it is a array, right? It is an array, and then inside the array, it contains object. So accordingly, I have to modify my code, right? So let me format it a bit. Okay. So I'm using a div here. I'm giving it a ID, quote. Okay, I'll remove console log and I'll use a curly bracket here and document dot get element by ID. I have to target the code ID and I'll use inner HTML attribute, right? So now this is the response that I'll be getting, right? So it is an array as I told you. So for that I have to specify 0 as the very first element, right? So now if we check it, it is returning the quote. Now let me modify it, format it a bit, right? I also need to specify author here. So I'm using backticks and then using div here to fetch it properly. You can use any class names you want, right? Okay, so now this is my value and just put it in the curly brackets interpolation. So I also want author. I'm putting it in the block quote, right? So it will indent it a bit and I'm using a p tag. I also want to fetch author. So dot author. Okay, now let me put it in the quotes. I want it to be surrounded with double quotes. So I'm using Q tag here. And I'm using style tag to apply some CSS, basic CSS. So I'm targeting block quote and changing its font style to italic. Right. So this is the output now. So I need to move these double dashes in the p tag. Okay, it looks better. Okay, I need to specify a class here for some more formatting. Dot author. So I'm using text indent property and giving it a 30 pixel space from the left. Right. I also don't want any space in the block code, so I'm removing the margin in the block code. So margin 0. Okay, so this is our final output. So that's it for today. Right, if you refresh it, you can see the code is updating. Right.